It's an amazing tech fairy tale how a company incorporated in 1945 as a manufacturer of vegetable production has transformed today into a multinational global IT company with presence in 61 countries and market capitalization over $20 billion. Here to present at the Global Webit Conference, we welcome on stage Vice President and Global Head of Machine to Machine, Alan Atkins. Please welcome him.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, now it is. Hope you all had a good party last night and you can hear me okay. Well, I'm supposed to be the granddad of IoT. I'm probably one of the oldest ones in the industry. And Andy was on the stage earlier on from Consiris and was saying that we talked out the back. And he said he can remember a time before the internet. I can remember a time before the mobile phone. And in actual fact, when I was living in England, I now live in Sweden, I was having a pager in my car, and every time the pager went off, I had to find a telephone box. Yes, we had telephone boxes in England those days, to find who wanted me and what I was going to do. So we've moved on a long way from that. So I'm going to give you a little speech. I'm not going to do a sales pitch. It's more about where are we going with IoT. It was called M2M a few years ago. IoT is bigger than M2M. M2M is really just machine-to-machine communication. This is bringing something far more. So we're moving away. So connectivity, collecting data, that's all commodity these days. So we're moving now more into a different transformation. We're looking to a connected transformation of what we're doing today. So what we try and do, or what we've been trying to do in the various industries, is not just collect data, not try and connect your TV with your washing machine or whatever. And I'll give an example. My mother is 88 years old, and she's very, very technical. And she sits at home with a Skybox, which can record 2 channels, and she can watch another one at the same time. And if I went to her and I said, do you know what platforms these are running on? Do you know how all this is working? She says, I don't care. I press the button, the TV comes on, I get a result. And that's what it's about. So what we try and do is collect the data, transform it into something meaningful, and give you an outcome. So we're looking at outcome-based business. So if I walked into the CFO of, let's say, ABB tomorrow and said, I can connect all your assets so you know what they're doing, what's happening to them all the time, he'd say, big deal. That's nothing new. But if I went to him and said, I could connect all your assets and give you probably a saving of 15 to 20% on your after-sales market, and if I don't charge you. But if I do, I take 20% of that money. They bite your hand off. It doesn't cost them anything. A year later, they come back and say, I want to do a fixed deal rather than have this, you taking money from me. So taking data and looking for valuable insights is the key. So one of the things we've seen, if you go from right to left on this, I don't know if the laser works on this or not, but you can see from past, reactive, and present, proactive, and the future, next generation. You've probably seen this slide from several people, and different variations of it. But you're going from points where you have machines providing data, all the way through to intelligent machines who can actually learn. So to give you an idea, some of the things we're doing, so when we look at, say, the manufacturing vertical, you can look at 2 specific aspects of that. You can look at the production within a factory, and how to optimize that, how to reduce scrap, et cetera, et cetera. Or the big market is after sales. How do you keep that customer? So I don't know who's bought a new car recently, but you walk into a showroom, you see a price on a car, you pay your money, and you go. If it's a good company, they'll give you a business card and introduce you to the service department and say, this is the guy that's going to look after you moving forward. So if that's the last thing that company does and they wave you out the door and you go off in your nice shiny new car, they've lost you. They've lost you. So one of the biggest problems people have these days is selling something. How many of you buy a product, you open it, you're very keen to open it and install it at home, and in there's a warranty card and there's a registration card. How many of you fill it in? Probably less than 10%. They've lost that customer. They have no link anymore. So if you can link the customer into some loyalty program or by having a maintenance program for them. So one of the things we've been looking at is, with the CFO and with the after-sales market, how do you keep that warranty cost down? So you get a 2-year warranty on your car or 3-year warranty on your car. But when you're driving that car, what do you want to do? You don't want that to fail. So I was with a senior chairman of a large motor company, and he says his dream was to make the car that never fails. And I said, no, probably your dream is to make a car that you can predict when it fails and mend it before it happens. So predictive analysis and machine learning is key in this industry going forward. So again, IoT is not about collecting data and analyzing it, doing something. It's actually having an outcome that people can use, we can use it ourselves. So, yeah, on my mobile phone, I've probably got 3 mobile phones, I can control my car, just putting the heaters on in the winter. I live in the north of Sweden, so when I come home, my car needs to be warm. I can switch the lights on and off, I can put the heating on my summer house, all these things. But that's just simple data transmission. There's nothing really special about that anymore. But if I could predict things moving forward, as we all move forward, life is very short, our life expectancy is getting longer, we're going to have more strain on the healthcare systems. The key is, how do we get medicine at home in distance? How do you do more learning at home? How do you use that time better? And everything is moving towards predictability. And so IoT, what I would say is, it's a predictable outcome. That's what we're all looking for. So this is a type of wheel. If you look at the various different parts in the center and you go through envision and solution design. So look at the total end-to-end. Sometimes you'll find that someone is already collecting data from a machine, but how do you use that data? Other people are saying, we have a problem, we have a machine, we don't know if it's working properly, we need to analyze it and try and make it better. So then we have to do embedded solutions in that machine to collect data, and you have to collect the right data. So having done that, you go around the build and integrate the vision through a solution development integration and through solution optimization. So you go through this POC, pilot, rollout. There's really no big bang in the Internet of Things. People are talking about $14 trillion worth of business moving forward. You've heard that from some large companies. It is going to be huge. How huge, I can't say, but things will become connected. But just connecting, as I said, your dishwasher to a central source or have a smart home isn't going to change the world that much. It's going to be how we predict things. So if you can imagine a company for 10 years in a car, so if you're driving your car, my wife is a classic example, and luckily she can't hear me saying this unless she's got a chip in my neck tonight. But she drives a car. I drive the car 2 weeks after she's been driving it. I get in the car, and there's a light on the dashboard. I said, why didn't you tell me? There's a light on the dashboard, and it's motor warning. She said, I wonder what it was, but I forgot to tell you. Okay, so I have to go open the manual and look down, and I say, okay, there's something wrong with the catalyzer in the engine. I have to go to the garage and ring them up and say, I got this on, can I drive the car? They said, bring the car in, we'll look at it. They do the tests, they then say, okay, we need to order a spare part. Come back in a week's time, have the spare part, and you lose your car for a couple of days. Some of the systems we're working on now, you're driving your car, the light comes on, that automatically goes on a dashboard either in the garage, where you have your car registered, or in the manufacturer's headquarters, which is run by us. You then get an SMS back into your phone or on the dashboard of your car that says, you have a warning light, you're okay to drive another 1,000 kilometers, your garage has been notified, the spare part's been ordered, your time has been booked. That's the way life's going to be. It's going to be much, much better use of your time. And that way also, the garage can then decide how many spare parts it keeps, rationalize the number of spare parts it has in stock. Do they need 1,000 of every spare part? No, they don't. They can see which parts are failing and predict when it's going to fail and change it before it fails. Obviously, that then becomes a part of trust, how you move forward. Can you trust the garage that says, that part was going to fail, so we changed it for you? It's also the same thing when you go into the garage and I have my windscreen wipers. And they say, can we change anything on your car without asking you? If the windscreen wipers need changing, can we change them? They change them every time because they say they're going to fail within 6 months. We have to trust as well. I'll finish off with one slide. This is an example, a case study, where a company making large earth-moving equipment needed to know, number one, where the assets were, because we're moving from a life of buying to leasing, away from CapEx to OpEx. So we were asked to install devices in the machines to see what the pressure was on the RAM. And a lot of these machines are rented out to companies like, well, I won't give particular names, but companies that rent machines. If you want to go and buy a digger for your garden, you can go to a shop and you rent it for the day. You take it back and you've broken it. Typical. You don't know how to use that machine correctly. They can see if the machine's been used, abused, how long it's been used. And very often these companies will rent a machine for 24 hours and then it's used somewhere else for other purposes. So by putting all the sensors on the RAMs, we can tell oil pressure, temperatures inside the machines, we can tell the RAM pressures, how much has been lifted, all these things. So this actually saved them over 15% of their after-sales costs and maintenance programs just by putting these sensors in, measuring the data, learning where the weaknesses were on the machines, and going forward. So I'll leave you with one word, and that's predictability. That's where IoT is going. Okay?